Welcome to Friday's edition of OIFM Newspaper Headlines Review. My name is Michael Leshi, and today I will be bringing to you latest headlines on the cover pages of the Tribune, Punch, and Vanguard newspaper. Now let's set the ball rolling with the Tribune, and the major headline on the cover says, Governors agree to roll out implementable national minimum wage. Now details of the story can be found on page 3 of the Tribune for today. Now, police parade mastermind of Kaduna-Abuja train attack, 276 other suspects. Now, you can find more concerning this headline on page 23 of the Tabloid. Now, moving to some stories from Oyo State. Olubadan, new twists in installation of Olakuleyin as Ladoja. Other kingmakers differ on terms of settlement. Now that story can be found on page 4 of the journal. Now moving to Lagos State. Lagos GDP hits 41 trillion naira, ranks 7th in Africa. Now that statistics is coming from the Lagos State government, and you can get that story on page 6 of the Tabloid. Moving to some education stories. University admission, no decision yet on 18 years entry age. Now that statement is credited to the Nigerian Senate. And next is the Punch newspaper, and the hottest headline on the cover says, fuel supply, 9,000 marketers may lose licenses. A story can be found on page 21. And on page 3 of the paper, we can find this a screaming headline, Police stumble on drug den after Lagos market fracas. Police stumble on drug den after Lagos market fracas. Now moving to page 2 of the Punch, we have this major headline, EFCC to move against schools charging dollars. EFCC to move against schools charging dollars. That story is embedded or inscribed on page 2 of the Punch. Now moving to some international stories. London sword attack. FG condemns Nigerian British boy's mother. London sword attack. FG condemns Nigerian British boy's mother. The story is on page 15 of the Punch. Now moving to the final newspaper for consideration, we have the Vanguard with us here, and the biggest headline here says, minimum wage, governors working on what is payable. Minimum wage, governors working on what is payable. Now that statement is credited to the Nigerian Governors Forum, and the story can be found on page 5 of the Vanguard. Now moving to some petroleum issues. Petroleum scarcity. Petrol scarcity. Long queues linger despite FG's assurances. Petrol scarcity. Long queues linger despite FG's assurances. Now the story is on page 8 of the Vanguard newspaper for today. Moving to some security related issues. NSA orders enforcement of cybercrime law. NSA orders enforcement of cybercrime law. That story can also be found on page 8 of the Vanguard. IPOB declares sit at home May 30 to honor Biafra hero. IPOB declares sit at home May 30 to honor Biafra heroes. You can find our story, details of that headline on page 11 of the Tabloid. Now moving to some sports stories. Lookman battles Roma's Dybala, 4 orders for Serie A Player of the Month award. Lookman battles Roma's Dybala, 4 orders for Serie A Player of the Month award. Now you can find our story on page 29 of the Vanguard newspaper for today, Friday, the 3rd day of May, year 2024. And on this sporting note, we have come to the end of today's program. Join us again next week, Monday, for another edition. Do have a pleasant weekend.